sense because like we're
Hello,
slowly.
hello.
Oh, you're up.
Hi
Nice, nice,
guys.
nice.
Well, welcome, very welcome, welcome. Whereas there's not any particularly strong indication that my show can pop on the live, but I'll go ahead and switch it over now. Hi guys, my name is Vince Delicious, and I'm joined up here on stage by YH and the eminent 0xWaifu. This is the Juice. It's an initiative by our parent company Studio Rem, and of course the Junie Project, as an effort sort of to connect artists and creators in this big space, but also to see if we can bridge the gap over to Web 2. YH, would you like to introduce
Yeah.
yourself?
So yeah, what's good? So I've been talking for a bit, was trying to warm up as well. So yeah, YH, another co-host of the Juice, same with Vince, and glad to be up here with my co-host and also the guest 0xWaifu here. So looking forward to. If you've seen the announcement, we are going to talk about those. We're going to talk about like TGOA. We're going to talk about art collecting. Going to talk about like project development for a bit. So you're looking forward to dive into those topics with our guests.
Sounds great. Pretty much today, like we are going to have just the conversation with OX Wife and of course TJ Online slash Genesis and all of this stuff that they're building both in the project and also without. I believe there's some stuff going on that I have not heard of myself, and I've been keeping up with the updates that YH has been providing me with the stuff that they're doing, and I'm pretty excited to hear directly from OX Waifu. My interactions with OX Waifu have been pretty limited. Actually, it's mostly hearing just stories from other people, secondhand stuff. Zai shared a little bit about her interactions with him, and of course YH as well. So looking forward to the conversation. YH, would you just like to go ahead and introduce our guest?
Oh yeah, for sure. So OXI. Oh wait, do okay. OXI. How about this? I will try to introduce you for a bit, but if you feel anything you want to add, feel free to fire away. Like your person. What makes you. If people want to think about OXI, what do you want them to remember? Feel free to add that right away. And while I'm at it, so Oxafu, he's the community manager at TGOA, loves games, waifus, and art collecting, where he spent like I remember back from those TGOA days, he spent like a ton of money to buy Garly's Genesis Senshi. Back then it's still called Genesis Senshi, all those digital collectibles, and yeah, it was great to see him, like a fellow collector in this space, having passion for good art, and now he has been helping out with the TJOA project development for like how long? A year, I think. TJOA. Hey, oh, sorry, I think
Yeah,
I got that right? Yeah.
yeah, it's been about a year now. Yeah, it's kind of like a split role at this point. A lot's, I think, am I good to just kind of like jump into introduce? I'm just gonna jump right into this. Yeah, so like pretty much like I do kind of like a mix of things. It's like I'd say like project management and kind of like a community management in sense. Um, Yeah,
Mhm.
over the year, not only has it been kind of just like finding like a role in the project or like where we can kind of like help maybe like support each other or provide additional resources, but like yeah, coming in as a collector, like I was just a fan of Garlier's art, but now like me and him talk on a day-to-day basis, and it's been an amazing experience kind of like curating like a friendship with my favorite artists that I started on with, just from following on Instagram. But yeah, a little over a year. But yeah, I mean, still definitely going strong, and like I said, I'm super super excited actually for like the state of where things are. So
Good shit. Like, that sounds like a dream come true, not gonna lie, from collecting his art to helping out with his project. That transition, it's a W transition, bro. Good stuff. Glad to see, m- it, it, is that in a sense like one of your dream jobs that you can imagine of? I assume that is because with how with your passion towards Garly Oppa's art. Is that the case? If I assume that to be correct.
dream job is a weird way to phrase it. You could say that, yeah. I would say it's more of like just it's like a humbling opportunity because I really have gotten a chance to not only just like test my own personal skills, but as well like just trying to place myself in the place of like someone else who wants to maybe like apply their own help or put their own position into the project. Like it's been a huge growth experience outside of just like what I would call a dream job. Like the opportunities that have like spanned from it have been like plentiful, and I don't see them stopping anytime soon. It's amazing. Like 1 month may seem like extremely slow and dreadful, and I'm sitting here like scratching the back of my head like something needs to kick up, and then the next month I can't find a second to grab an extra hour of sleep. So um it's tons of fun. It's tons of fun, honestly.
Good stuff. So since we were talking about the project dev part, I saw that recently, since I'm a TGOA holder, I'm a part of TGOA this community as well, and we've finally seen that the figurine production is out. With that, like how was the process? Like trying to finalize things. To finally be from prepping the figurines to like maybe perhaps figurine designs to perhaps even pushing out the announcement. Oh, these figurines are available, and then you can buy at these places. Like, how was the whole progress behind it? Like, how was it behind the scenes?
Yeah. Okay. So I would definitely say, because I mean, I think every project shares a common goal. We all want to establish like a strong foundation for our IP that we can kind of bring across the market through digital and physical mediums. Um, and we've had actually, like I have mentioned, like as of recent, we've had tons of opportunities to do so. Not just with figurines, but we can focus a lot on the figurines for the moment. So kind of like the process of which, uh, Garl's been a longtime figurine collector himself. If you've ever seen kind of like a random Instagram story from him, you can just, I don't know if there's any actual posts lingering around from him, but his whole entire like room where he draws, his whole entire back wall is just filled with like 1/3 scale figurines of like Batman, Joker, a bunch of just like old like DC comics or like anime figurines that have inspired him over the years. Me and him are a huge Kishimoto fan, so he has a couple Naruto statues that are sitting around in his back wall as well. It's just kind of been like a long time passion of his specifically. So like even before TGOA kind of manifested as a project, these were actually already being prototyped. These started prototyped about 2.5 years ago. So it was, yeah, a lot. There was a very, very small like a Discord community group of like 60 individuals that existed. And at the time, I believe it was called like the Garliera Art Society, which we kind of tried to revive in sense. We definitely have to like resurface it in a way, but that's a different discussion for a different time. But it was a very, very small knit community. And during that time, that's kind of when he started to pursue kind of like, all right, like this is what I want to do to kind of start to kickstart the foundation for this IP. Um, on top of that, it wasn't just like I want to have one figure. It was like I want to have this consistency. We want to be a like a collectible, right? Those people that have always like wanted to support his long term art career have the chance now to kind of do that through his figurines. So it, it it's it's been a long kind of like vision that's finally like manifesting, and it's been awesome. So as far as like the whole production process of it, we were actually reached out for through one of the manufacturers. They were just interested being a like fan of his artworks and him wanting to
Oh,
pursue it. We actually got reached out and they kind of presented an opportunity for one of the figurines. So that one kind of was just best of both worlds situation. The second one though,
yeah,
it was kind of like a reaching out, and they were open to collaborating with us. They saw kind of the prototype samples of what we got from the one that you're sharing right now, Hikaru. She was like our very first one. Was she
yeah,
Her first prototype started? I want to say very very late 2020 or early 2021, around that time. So once we kind of got like the beginning stages of this, getting her 3D models ready, and as well as some of the test prints, we kind of shared that to other manufacturers that we wanted to work with, and kind of shared like what our ultimate like vision was for not just the project, but kind of getting our IP out there. And we're very thankful for both iToys and Shumi, because they're very small knit teams. It's only a handful of people. Shumi, I think, is 2 people, I want to say, and then I8Toys is a very small team of like it's sub 10 people, but they're doing fantastic work, all of them. Real great with the communication process, and not only that, but they've helped their team kind of as well reach lots of distribution channels that we wouldn't have been able to kind of hit just selling it natively through our own website. It's actually why we didn't launch it through
yeah,
our own website. I know there was some questions about that, like why didn't we create a throughout landing page? And it's specifically because of that, and as well, like whenever you do go through these main distribution channels, it's really nice whenever there is a markup, like it's like a 20% markup from what the retailer sells, like within like their own domesticated,
oh,
these are sourced out of Korea. So like if you live in Korea, like you can get them at a much cheaper price, and as well in China you can get them at a much cheaper price. But if you do
yeah,
order through like one of our like certified resellers or a distributor, there is a little markup, but it also helps cover like import fees and then the overhead fees for like their employment and stuff, blah blah blah. So, but with doing it that way, I mean, our figures have hit over I think 50 different channel distributors already. We've
Ooh,
only shared a few of the main ones in our Discord. I think we've shared about like 7 or 8 links for each of the figures that we
yeah.
consider like a preferred seller. But yeah, I mean, we are so far have seen what we would consider like very successful turnout for it. We've also like weekly will go through forums and kind of read kind of what the general feedback is just from the consensus of are people interested in pre-ordering it, and we have no negatives on it. When we're finally starting to get kind of like the biggest takeaway obviously is just getting one in our hands. I I
Uh-huh.
can I
Uh-huh.
trust I trust Garliera's word on it that he's gotten to hold one. So like I trust his word as a collector. But we've started to get like the videos of seeing them in like figure expos overseas internationally, and we've gotten nothing but amazing feedback from it. So
Ooh.
the manufacturer constantly tells us as well that they're very interested in kind of continuing partnerships. So it's something that I see as a long term, just a long term honestly just manufacturing goal for a project. Like it's something that consistently can just like exist, and we're pretty proud of that. It's a level of collecting as well that's kind of above like your typical like Funko Pops are considered collectibles, or like a U2's where it's like a very like small scale figurine, but we really want to hit a collector's market. We really want to treat these and
Yeah,
give them
yeah.
the attention to detail they arcane. But again, that doesn't mean we're not open to doing like cheaper variations. So the 3 that are out, they're available for pre-order. We have a 4th that's been confirmed, and we've shared prototype images in our Discord for her, but I have no like I have no images that I can share of her at this moment. But that one will be coming out, and it's also kind of priced a little bit at a higher price point. It hasn't been
Yeah. Figurines
confirmed
to be
yet,
like
but
that. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, and not just that though, but it's a very long process. Like you know, you typically people like will see like a Chainsaw Man just came out and was a huge hit, let's say like 6 months ago, and you're starting to see all these figurines pile out. But people need to
Yeah.
understand as well, the prototypes for these figurines were they
Way,
probably
way
started
back.
them at least probably 16 months ago, at least minimum. Like
16
these,
months? Oh shit.
I would say that might have been on the longer scale, but since they're much larger companies, but at least minimum 9 to 16 months. The prototyping process is such a detrimental, like it's so key. You have to nail it. If you don't nail it, then your whole mass manufacturing could, I mean, you could get duds in the QC where
Oh.
like you have faces or features of the character that just look off, or just are maybe off center, and it's a very particular process. But once you nail it, it's, especially with detailed figures, it's worth the time. It's worth the all the efforts on it. And that's also kind of where we see like the friendlier option. Like we want to kind of expand as well with like chibis and kind of hit that cuter market set. So like
That's season 3, right?
yeah, yes. We haven't like announced too much on it, but like chibis, like we do see as much. It's a cuter market set. They're a lot more fun. You can have like cutesy animations or skits with them. So when their time is ready, their time is ready. That's something that we'll explore
Mm.
later on. But that's where we also see kind of like the opportunity to maybe jump into like the much cheaper scale, like $30-$50, like kind of like what you'd have like on like a little desk set, or like some people would set it inside their computer case or something of that sort.
Ah,
So
yeah, those.
yeah,
Your collector, your collector. What's that thing called? Your collector cabinet. Yeah, that kind of thing. You have
yeah.
that like a showroom, that kind of stuff.
So
And
so there's tons
uh,
of like different options on it.
yeah, like it's good to see, to hear that like art and quality connects people from different domains. Like collectors, yeah, collectors, and also like the manufacturers. And if I heard that correctly, you said that though these figurines are already available at not available, like kind of showcase in like different exhibitions overseas, right?
Yeah, so I don't know
Oh,
the name of the exhibition specifically, but there's been 3 in total so far. So one was in China for the release of I was in Shanghai for the release of the twins, so Kina and Rira. They were both kind of on
Oh,
display, which was awesome. Yeah, it was their first kind of like public display that we even got to see as well. It was kind of like a surprise that the manufacturer had not told us that it was even being set up. They just kind of like it was kind of like a mutual like gift in a way. So it was awesome of them to do that. So, but we've had two expos in Korea for Hikaru, and both of which one just happened over the last weekend. The other one was a couple months ago once their pre-orders opened. But yeah, within both, we've gotten nothing but positive
ooh,
feedback, which makes us, just ecstatic for the upcoming ones. Like I said, we
yeah.
already
This,
have the fourth one is like already in production. We have they haven't started the actual like prototyping steps yet, but we do have like another three that are unconfirmed that we kind of plan on hopefully like getting here and pushing out within like the upcoming like 6 months. So the
ooh,
wheels keep turning, right? So lots of opportunities to kind of like test and trial like which characters throughout the IP kind of hit and which ones don't. There will be some misses, and we kind of are expecting that. And
yeah.
nothing's
Trial and
perfect in that
error is
world,
the way.
but
Yeah,
but yeah, luckily though, we have gotten nothing but like I said, positive remarks back from it. So it just leaves us kind of, like I said, more optimistic on like what we're doing. It is kind of like the right path for us as well. It provides us a form of revenue. And it as well kind of like solidifies outside of just like the digital kind of collectible status. Our physical collectible
yeah,
status is more
yeah.
now that like actual collectible, the collector's tier, right? So, and we're curious to see what some of these distributors actually do with it. Some of them have the option to, order mass backstock quantities. So, if some of them do have a large, like a reputable amount of sales, and there is like large interest, some of them might backstock some of these figures for the future sales.
Oh,
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're kind of just, we're
That's
kind
like
of in
one
the
business
midst
line
of it.
set out. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and it's yeah, it's been great. So as far as the figurine side of everything, um, yeah, we're kind of just riding the waves now. It's kind of just keep the wheels turning, keep new figurines coming out, make sure that the quality doesn't drop, and see if we can't get into like working with new manufacturers. Right, we only have the two that we have at the moment, but it would be nice to jump into a further range of them, right, and have more of these coming out more consistently and at a quicker rate. So and as well at different price points. Like I said, not everybody can afford a $300 figurine. Uh,
yeah.
Hikaru is $600. Like,
Oh
and we
shit.
understand. Like, and they're massive figures. I mean, they are 1/6 scale. They're 13 inches
Yeah,
tall, including the base. So like, they're very tall figures. But again, not everybody can afford that. So we've already
yep.
kind of taken that into consideration and understood that like, all right, we need to kind of hit something that like is a lower price point. Final Fantasy does a really good job with their figurines. I forgot
And I
who
guess
makes them
plushie
exact.
as well. Plushie is one of your ways to target it.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
we
yeah.
we have already we technically have a finished plushie.
Oh,
Yeah, well,
I
yeah,
heard plushie.
she
Hello.
didn't turn out the way we expected, but we learned quite a bit. We learned quite a bit, and it was actually we kind of found something more positive out of the individuals that we were working with for the plushie. So the plushie kind of was in essence a little bit of a flop, but we kind of learned though that the same company does do like high quality and high end printing, and they've wanting to break into as well some of the U.S. expos within the the West Coast. So we just recently kind of did let's say like a long term collaboration on The Last of Us. And they have a gallery that they work very closely with, where they do licensed artworks and events. So it was kind of like our trial run just to see, how well can we work together? Is there a good synergy between our teams? Um, and so we hope to actually break into things like plushes and maybe more small scale like keychains and physical merches that you can find at expos and booths, because it'll be a good
mm,
opportunity for not just us as a project, but as well for the kind of like the manufacturers that we're working with in the local businesses as well. It's kind of just a co-helping thing. You help us, we help you. And yeah, it's been plentiful for both of us so far. So we're really looking forward to stuff like that. Plushes, I can't say that we're gonna go with the same people for plushes because maybe we both had different expectations on what it should look like. But we already have found like another avenue that we could go with. That we're already like very open with. Like we didn't close the door on like just because the first one didn't come out the way we wanted to, like throwing it out the door. So we're kind of as well like if you're like if y'all are familiar with like Uncle Ghost as well, like he's a great
Ah,
community member.
very much so.
We're
Yes.
we're watching. I have my two. I had placed two different orders for the Bobu plushie because I wanted two keychains with it. So yeah, and those shipped. I'm super excited to get those because that's also another like option that people have because for any project that was interested with working with them specifically, like they provide those services. They can work and help you with the prototyping process of like making a plushie, and you actually learn if you've never done that before, like you learn a lot because it's not just plushies that are made this way, but it's also figurines that are made this way. You start from kind of your base layout of like you know profile on the left, profile on the right, front profile, back profile, top overview, and you get to kind of lay out the elements of what you want on your character, the details of what you
Whoa,
want on
the
your character.
details.
And you
Ooh.
do the same for your plushies, right? You
Yeah,
treat your
yeah.
plushies the exact same. So um, it all kind of coincides with each other. So once you kind of get the experience with one and you get to start kind of rolling into the next one,
It gets easier, yeah.
yeah, you get much more familiarized with it. The process becomes a lot quicker, and you kind of know what to present as well. So figurines
Uh,
and plushies and all that stuff is great. High quality prints is something that we in the past have done like digital autograph, and we'll just do like a kind of like print to order, throw it in a frame and send it out, which is fine. It works, but there the print quality that we really want to get to is like something again that like we want to really embed the collector like status to it. So like we did with the Last of Us stuff, there was like a limited edition print that was a hollow foil. So like if you look at it at a specific angle, it has like the shimmers, like the silver rainbowish looking shimmer in it.
whoa, that's some high quality stuff.
So we really, and so we want to try this with again like our original like PGOA artworks because we really want to kind of solidify as well that the products that we're releasing just outside of our digital artwork being like a high quality, like our physicals need to be equally as so. Like we really have to set a standard for ourselves on projects and our deliverables because we understand again, and that's what we very very much have acknowledged that price point can sometimes be an issue. So
Yep. Yep.
making that affordability and kind of finding out which mediums work best, whether if it's like a budget cutback on maybe like a print size or just the quality, like whether or not including like materials like hollow foil on future prints or whatever it be. We're really taking into consideration because not only again is it like a form of revenue for our project, but we really want to start delivering these things to a much wider audience, just outside of kind of what we've curated already. Like Garlier as an artist, like still throughout like Instagram, his posts are getting 10,000 to 15,000 likes, and we really want to kind of dig into that as well with like the
Yeah.
cross collaborations that we've kind of had the opportunity to do so like with our last one with The Last of Us, Naughty Dog has an audience on social media of like 3.6 million followers. So kind of trying to break into that audience of people who have been a long time fan of something that might not be related to the project, but we can still kind of maybe drag their interest just from being an original like fan of just Carliero's art styles and artworks. We really want to kind of bridge that momentum and just be like, hey, not just him as an artist, his profile and his releases as an artist. If you're a fan of that, like we as a project also exist, and we
Yeah, yeah.
are
Offer
we
the
are
collecting.
his
Yeah, yeah.
and we are his personal vision, right? This is not just like a fan art of something or just like something he does like passively. Like this is his long-term vision for what he wants to do with his artwork. So and it's in again, like I said earlier, it's amazing to be a part of that process, and as well start to include individuals like throughout the creation process of it and give them the opportunity. But for the one thing that I haven't talked about is animation, and uh,
Oh.
Ju- Junie is like you guys have in the past gotten a chance to work with an animator. We've gotten to work with the same one. He's a great person. They're awesome. But we learned very quickly with that we were a little ill prepared because like we've never done animation before. We've never so I've like something I've passively done as well is just followed and paid more attention to what animators are like posting throughout, like if everyone's been like a big fan of like recent releases, the Attack on Titan and Jujutsu Kaisen. If you are interested in kind of following animation and learning more about the process, you should really start following some of the the layout artists that are floating around on like X and Twitter, or some on Instagram, but you're mostly going to find it on Twitter, because those are
Yeah.
the people that, I mean, they're not they don't clean it up, but I mean these layout artists are kind of like the foundation for if you just watch like the newest Jujutsu Kaisen episode and you were just fucking floored by it, right? Well, these
Yeah, like it was
individuals are out there,
busting, bro. Yeah.
right?
They
Yeah.
went they
So
went hard.
and we've really strived for like finding individuals that are open to kind of having those opportunities to work with us and help that co-creation process from not just a TGOA community centric standpoint, but just like from the broader animation community, or even like with figurines, right? Like there's a community of individuals all throughout this, just much further out than just what's embedded in our personal Discord or like or TGOA Twitter and Instagram. Like and it's really going to be a challenging process, but it'll be a very like benefiting process for our team, and I think for the project as a whole. Once we start to break into those barriers of just like, hey, we're not just we're not just like a digital entity in that sense. Like, come find us at an expo next year, right, in 2024, and come buy a print, right? I'm really stoked we haven't announced it yet, but like I'm stoked to like finally start working with the creation process as well for like creating a manga and starting to bring this to like fruition, because it's been a long process. It's been a very stressful process, but at the same time, at the end of the day, when I think about it, it's extremely fun. And the people that I get to work with, they like I know they care. They put in the time. They come back and they have fresh ideas, and they really try to as well. Like the next day, come back with what they think is going to be like the right path for the project. And like that's really like that's why I was here from the beginning, right? That's why I started supporting Garliero. Was my interest started with, hey, I want to do this because I just want to help. I love
Mm.
your like collecting your art. I love like the idea set that you have, and I would love to just further that process and kind of be like there for the creation of it. And again, I'm thankful enough to be in the position where he now trusts me to do so. So and again, like I've stated plenty of times, I'm very optimistic for the direction of like how we're going. I see 2024 being a very strong year of just opportunities for us in personal growth internally.
Ooh.
There's tons of things that we've been prepping on the outside of it for like kind of introducing just viewers outside of just like a holder of Garlier's artwork to be a part of like what the universe actually is. We're finally kind of hitting these strides to now start implementing what we've been like kind of long term envisioning, and I'm super excited for it. Um, yeah, yeah. Sorry, I've just been kind
Nice.
of talking a storm.
Nah, oh good. You know how it makes us easier so because like you're just so it's good to see that you being passionate about stuff, because not gonna lie, with us working on projects like these, working in these projects, working in a sense startups, we gotta it's always best since there's like a lot of a ton of coordination behind the scenes. As you mentioned, you guys are even working with manufacturers outside of your team as well, so that requires more coordination and also like smooth communication, basically all those soft skills, and y'all managed to pull it off, despite all, as you can as you mentioned, there's like trials and errors as well, and there's like good moments where you guys get to see the beginning of you guys IP being those figurines being pushed to the outside of the world, being pushed to exhibition, getting to see, you know, getting to see it firsthand, how it's being built, how it's progressing, and also get to, even put effort and contribute to it, that's just lit, bruh. And also to see, that, like the fruition and the results coming out, as you mentioned, like manufacturers liking it, they might even want to backstock it, right? That's good progress. That's good progress. And as you said, like this takes a lot of time, like with the prototyping and also, smoothing out details, like shipping details, like how to, like, like the details of, let's say, like like for example, Hikaru's figurine, like all those accessories and her face, all those little design stuff, the all that all those take time for sure, as you mentioned, like 9 to 16 months at least. But a slow cook is a good cook. Yes, I've been trying to say this. And also, you guys, there you have it. The mix of art, quality, passion, and effort is what makes these possible. And love the figure production part from TGOA. And there's one question that I want to ask before we move on to like another segment. Between sorry, I just cracked my voice for a bit. But between Hikaru, Kina, and Rurua, if you can only choose one, who would you choose and why? Only one. You cannot have all. You can only choose one. Who will you choose?
Ah, ah, ah.
You just hit him with
I
that
already
out of
ordered
nowhere.
all. Yeah. So I have to probably it'd probably be one of the twins. I don't know which, just because I own the artworks for them. So like that's that was just kind of like a I was Gideon in itself because it was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, I own these, and now I can physically have it. Probably one of the twins, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I ordered all of them. I'm super
Oh,
excited.
you have this
So
one, right? You have Kina, right? If I
yes,
remember
yes, yes,
correctly.
yes. Yeah, that's
Ooh,
my current profile picture. That's like kind of been as well like one of like girls like kind of like favorite child's of all the artworks he's done. So yeah, we kind of get to as well go back and forth, and we're kind of excited just to see it all happen. Uh,
yeah.
and even like I said, like reading the feedback in forums on the twins, it's been nothing but great feedbacks. Like yeah, yeah. We've been really ecstatic with the results.
I love that answer.
If that
It's
isn't
great.
a cook, I don't know what is, man. That is definitely a cook.
It was really cool hearing you talk about all the different like aspects of the behind the scenes. I think one of the most valuable things that I guess people on teams for projects and just companies in general, providing that behind the scenes look and how exactly how difficult it is to pull off certain things. Like especially because there are a lot of aspects of our space where excuse me where we kind of expect we like expect things to go a certain way. For example, like, oh, you've got a project, we expect like a black hoodie with the logo. It's like, cool. That one we can sort of do really easily. But then when you make something like a figurine, or especially when you make, if you're looking to do animation, and we mentioned layer artists, that instantly reminded me of, you're right, a lot of the popular ones, especially like the Jujutsu Kaisen ones, the layer artists have been posting like their processes, like all of the like the sketches and stuff. The one that really stuck out for me was the girl in the bathtub for the hidden inventory pre-season for season 2. And I don't know, like when you said that, it really made me think that I actually really want to know how certain things are made, because it makes me appreciate them, like the final product, a lot more. Is that how you kind of feel about your own figurine production?
Yeah, absolutely. On literally in every aspect as well. Like, and that's I think the biggest takeaway as well is if you know somebody who is a 3D modeler, like think the much bigger picture.
Mm.
Take like the 10 steps forward and then take 15 steps backwards. But
Yeah.
like, but like, ask them though, ask them, reach out and just be like, hey, could I get a 3D model? Because you will learn a lot. Are you going to do anything with this 3D model? Maybe you won't, but
Mm.
you will learn a lot from just like how it's made, the process of it, and then what you can do with it as well. Like if you ever reached out to some kind of manufacturer of some kind, it was like, hey, like I want a plushie. Here's my, I have a 3D model already ready and prepared. Like let's trial and error this. Let's see if we
Mm.
can get it done. Most manufacturers give you like you pay like 250 or like to $500 somewhere in that range, and you get like 3 prototypes, and you go back and forth, right? Uh,
That like
That's kind of like what we did with cars. And oh, sorry.
oh no, I was gonna say yeah. That time frame that you mentioned, the like was it the 18 month, the 12 to 18 month like time frame was huge to me.
Yeah, and it will vary, but there's so much in that span of things, like because these manufacturers aren't just working on one thing; they're working on
Oh, of
multiple
course, you're
things.
right.
So
Yeah.
that's the I think the one thing to take into consideration. But outside of that as well is just that supply chain is kind of still backed up a bit.
Mm,
So there's things out of their control that like a manufacturer just can't like
mm.
outside of the actual materials. If it's taking them too long to get the materials, outside of that, like they can't do anything about it anyways. But I wouldn't have that like deterrent. I wouldn't like say like someone look at it and be like, yikes, like almost 2 years, like like it's hard to see that big picture 2 years down the road, but there's a lot of ways to actually like kind of weave through that. And again, like I was saying, like it's kind of like taking like way more steps forward than you need to before kind of going back to square one and just seeing like, hey, like let's try this. How is this made? Sometimes it can be a little costly, which it's I mean it's all a process it's of learning, but um I can't say I have any like regrets, right? Like I paid to
Yeah,
get like a prototype of this plushie made. i I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go through with getting like a mass quantity of these plushies, but I don't regret like spending the money going through it because I've never made one before,
of
so like
course. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, so it was
Yeah.
just an amazing learning experience, and these figurines are equally so. Right, going back and forth and kind of seeing like a heads on like, hey, these are like the three head options that we're getting, and they typically will just show you like the face of it, and you kind of get like a clay plaster of like the or like a plastic plaster of the pack one,
Mm.
and we'll sit there and just kind of look at it and be like, does this look like strange, like does this look like an individual? And sometimes even in the post-production, like, and we actually have seen it with like Hikaru as well, some of the pictures are like will kind of make it look a little off, but at the same time we've seen videos and we know what the product looks like in person, and we're like very confident on that front. So like as a matter of perspective and just the process of it all, like it that long kind of extraneous just going back and forth, yeah, it sucks. It's like playing email tennis, but it's worth it.
Yeah, I can feel that.
It's so worth it.
Especially when
Email tennis.
there's like a physical product that goes back and forth too, and then you're like, oh, I want like these changes, or I think this looks odd, and I already have that sort of experience a little bit with just commission artists, like with our PFPs and stuff like that. But I like this is a whole other scale, especially for mass production.
Yeah.
Humongous,
Yeah,
yeah.
and yeah, and I yeah, especially when you look in the terms of mass production and as well from sustainability. Like, you don't want to do something that's completely unsustainable as well and burn a massive hole in your
Mm-hmm.
pocket doing the creation process. So you do have to be careful for that. Like,
Oh, it's
knowing
true.
your market for it. Like, is this something at a collector standpoint that like outside of that was the biggest gamble for us as well, was like, is our artist platform as an individual enough to kind of carry this post just what's inside of, again, like our community, right? Like, can we grab the attention of collectors that are just like a fan of just nice figurines, right? Because there are people out there that are in like positions of that they're in like wealth positions where they can just freely purchase shit like that, right? Like, we want to kind of, we want to hit some of those people and be like, hey, like, we're selling this really really S tier figurine, and
Mm-hmm.
we want you to notice that. And again, yeah, like we've had nothing but positive feedbacks on it, and like seeing things from like renowned like reviewers on like YouTube, like go to this expo in Korea, like post a video of it and say like, immediately saw it and placed my pre-order, is like, again, nothing but like reassurance that we're doing the right thing. The time and work and effort for it's paying off. And again, that interest is just kind of like fueling out from it. Again, we have some unconfirmed ones, but two of these unconfirmed ones that we're kind of like waiting for the green light on. It's turned into like not just a figurine process. It's turned into something much larger than that, to where there's been interest with like actually acquiring characters from us, and then kind of like this outside entity would then have control. So like, you know, not only is our project able to focus on what we wanted to focus on in that, but we've been thankful enough to actually gander outside interest from parties who can, you know, apply characters in our stories to games or like to other like figurine manufacturers. And again, it once those kind of kick into place and they do get the green light, it's like, okay, cool. We do have to still kind of wait again that like it's like a 9 to 16 month period for the actual product to be like finalized and released. But once it is released, it is kind of like a hey, like the gears have been turning and they keep turning.
Mm.
I can't say it's going to be at a scale of like when we see things like, and I know that it's if you haven't paid attention to them, you very should much. But like with Pudgy Penguins, like how they're hitting that many like channel manufacturers, distributions, and then as well with like their games and trying to like breach into the entertainment factor of it, like the cutesy, like there's a there's a market that like we haven't gotten a hit yet, and we're noticing and we're taking notes,
taking notes of how they're doing.
very
For
absolutely,
sure.
because if you're not, and we're not trying to like, again, it's not like a copy pasta, let's do that, let's get a toy machine somewhere, but we really need to see as well how's it being received, because our market will be similar but yet different, because we're not selling like cute penguins, right? We're gonna be selling like cute little girls that need to kind of reflect what our vision was from the start with our IP, with the releases of figurines, with the releases of like some what we want to do with our like our website updates and stuff. So well, there's tons of rooms for opportunity. There's tons of rooms for personal growth and learning. But like we really have to be strategic with it. Like we can't have more misses than we have successes. Like we just don't have we just don't have the overhead to make errors like that. So I'm just being very, very cautious, quadruple checking like constantly what we're doing, what we're releasing, what we're saying. It's just so key, because it's all part of just making sure that what our final vision is a cohesive process, and the people that follow it from whether it be start to finish, whether it be a halfway to finish, just following it to the end, to that finish point, just making sure they're in for the most like seamless and cohesive ride possible is very, very important.
That's true. Like especially with when you try and like not making mistakes, you want the efforts that you're making to hit. The fact that they have such long lead times probably is also a bit anxious to work with. So huge props to you for being able to navigate that.
Yeah, and from the digital standpoint, there's things, there's aspects, and like with prices of assets and stuff like that, where yes, there could be focuses that maybe you could cater to, like I don't know the best way to say it, but you can maybe apply some more attention to such, but and ultimately, again, in that long-term vision that we have, it all kind of plays, I think, factor to what are we trying to actually accomplish here in the end. Like we can we've really started to realize, like I've said it a couple times now, that we have interest that's out there, that we need to tap into, and how do we get out there is branching out into as many ways as possible, right? And that'll only come to fruition through the collaborations that we're going on with, like again, like video game licensing, through our figurines, and as well in finding projects out there. Like one as of recent, if y'all have had a chance to talk with, like I'm pretty positive, but like Young with like WeBox.
Oh yeah, of course.
yeah.
I'm pretty positive I saw one of y'all's characters on the shelf. Like me and him sat and had like a 2-hour conversation, because this is something that we see potential in and growth in, just much larger than our tight knit communities, right? Like there's so much room for just tapping into the potential of an actual collector. And the collectors are out there, like again, like you said, with like really famous like animes and their figurines, like Chainsaw Man. Like I know there's people that are probably ordering like Makima statues like at the Wahoo, like, right, they already hit it on pre-order immediately as first time they saw it, and they're like, yep. Like like those people exist, and really trying to like find where we live in that environment is so important, and it takes time. But we're starting to kind of hit our strides, and that time is really starting to pay off for us. So again, like I said, I'm very optimistic moving into 2024 because we can really push our limits on like if we physically put our IP into place to where it's going to see a mass audience of individuals that have never heard of us before, don't know anything about us, it'll be intimidating, and it might not go the way we want it to. But again, I think we're confident enough that the path we're going, we'll see that success. The only thing that I like want to like slap myself on the wrist for is like I wish that I myself was a more technical person. So like like I've tried
Yeah.
to take up things like web design and other things like just to like I wish I had
Understand that
those skill
aspect.
sets because
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
see that, yeah, I work with the individuals that like do this and kind of help like put the vision like into place, and I'm like, man, like it's great helping facilitate it, but like being an actual part of that creation process is so much fun. So it's inspiring, and just like the sense of like expanding my own skill sets, expanding like the skill sets of our team. Yep,
this
whole
this
everything.
for sure this like I totally relate to this, especially with me not being able to do proper video editing. Don't know when I want to pick up, but yeah, totally understand. Like wanna actually participate in the creation instead of just cheering for them, or not like cheering for them, or like just facilitating, as you say, or like cheering for them from the sideline because you cannot help out that much. That sucks. So yeah, yeah, totally relatable on that part, not gonna lie. And thanks for for all the sharing on the figure production. And actually there was like some extra questions, but you already kind of answered, like from the difficulties of figure production. Yo, there was so much. We were like, enlightened, not gonna lie, because I have no idea that it takes like so long to even get that prototype ongoing, and let alone manufacturing stuff, let alone streamlining, let alone making sure that it's sustainable and consistent. And also you gotta check whether you gotta do quality checking throughout all the phases. Man, it's tough to be a product manager. That feels like a product manager thing, if I'm not mistaken. And that aside, want to hop into the art collecting part for a bit, with just this one question for now. How did you come across Garly or Bars art again? Like, how do you come across Galeria's art?
Instagram. Yeah, it
Oh,
just like the random Instagram post, and that's still where he has the most success. So like again, yeah, like that's like really kind of like we're really honing in on like where can we like tap into our roots at. So yeah, Instagram was where I found him. Even still, when we share his arts today, that's where we're seeing like the most like still like growth, and we're seeing
yeah,
like
the most
continued
traffic, yeah.
interest. Yeah. So
Mm,
Instagram's kind of, Instagram's been a blessing to me because not only did it present this opportunity to us, but it's also like a big channel medium for us. So um yeah, yeah. Let's say like 2 years ago I
mhm.
found him on there. I think 2 3 years ago. So, and I had actually ignored like all of the whenever he first started kind of releasing like one artworks and stuff. I kind of ignored a lot of it because also I was broke at the time. But like I just
That is a
didn't
big
really
mood.
like think. Yeah, I mean, if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. But like it at the time, I also just I don't think the interest of it really ever struck me. But once I was kind of in a better position financially and learning a little bit more about kind of like how you can like own a piece of like your favorite artist artwork, like finally actually like doing that like through Genesis itself, like that was like my first like real like big art purchase, right? And just the opportunities that sprung off of it for me since then, have been awesome. Like it's the one thing I wish I could share as well is like I get to have that constant channel of communication, because we need it to function on our like on all sides of like operations, right? Like we need that communication for like an internal team. It's hard to share that with like the people outside of it, but we really hope that the final products are like kind of like us kind of saying like, hey, like this is us bringing you through, like this is just the early steps. Like you see a figure after a year and a half and it's like, what's next? And it's like, don't worry, like there's going to be tons more next. Like this is just like our kind of apples, or I don't know a good analogy actually to use for this, but like like our goal isn't to be kind of like a one hit wonder in that sense. Like if we can kind of set a standard for being that collector status outside of just like figurines and artworks, just like kind of just being a high end, not only just like a standard for anime in a sense, but also just for collectibles, like that's really going to be like where we want to cater to. So whether that audience be kind of like where we're at now, or whether it be us having to break into, like, again, like I was saying, tons of distribution channels and kind of taking the risk on kind of like seeing what does work and what doesn't work, but as well being strategic about it, it'll pay off. It'll pay off for the long run.
Yeah,
And then
it'll
having
definitely be.
yeah, and yeah, and then everyone just wanting that same end result, right? Like everyone wants to want that end goal together, right? If somebody doesn't want it, like, that's fine and all, but um, really want to, like, our team really has been lucky to be like centric on people who want this to come to life, right? So it's fun. It's fun. It's fun. There's so much to work on. I know tons of people say that all the time, but like I'm like literally like sitting here like spinning for sleep sometimes, like nodding my head off at my table, or at my desk, but like it's all worth it at the end of the day. All the stress, all of it's worth it. And yeah, I think other projects will feel the same though, right? I feel like even with just like figurines, right? Like it's
Yeah.
awesome to see these, like the final product get pushed out there. Like it's so sick. It's it's so sick. And seeing other people do the same, right? Like seeing somebody else, like I don't remember what it was, but there's another team that released like a 6-inch figurine, and they just like had it at an expo. I think it's in the NYC anime NYC, I think is the name of it. But it's so
Mhm.
cool, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's finally like a kind of like hitting a point for a lot of people where they kind of took the risk about 15, 16 months ago, and they're finally pushing. They're like we saw it with like Gus, right? Like people need to realize, like with Izuki and that Gus vinyl toy,
Mm.
Mhm.
dude, that thing
Mhm.
that thing probably hit like the prototyping stages minimum at least a year ago plus, like 12 to 16 months ago easily, like. And it's coming out, and I guarantee that team's looking at it and they're just cheek to cheek fucking smiling, like we did this, like because it's awesome, right? It's like you finally
Yeah.
get to kind of go through that whole creation process of like
And tap into
it,
that part of the things, yeah, the collecting part.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's more than, at that point it's more than just like the digital aspect of it, like really having like I don't own anything from Pudgy, but I have underneath like in my TV stand right now, I have 4 of their big old plush Pudgy toys, right? And
Ooh.
it's super cool seeing them. Like it's so cool seeing them. Like I, just the fact that like anybody's taken the risk to do that with like it's very like inspiring. I hope that people like that like others like start to kind of like take those risks as well, because it's, again, it can be very stressful. Like it'll push you to the brink of a mental snap on some days, but um it just makes you stronger as an individual, and then as well your team. And once they kind of push through those like difficult strides, like the end results are, chef's kiss, like no, right? So
Coquelino. Definitely worth it. Oh, and so appreciate that all those inputs on that part, and also you love to hear your passion, throughout the whole conversation, the whole session. You showcase like your passion towards not just galleries art, but also as just a collector, collector's mentality. It's been a bit of the minority, or the lacking part in our current space, I can say so. But it's good to see such passionate individuals are still around. We're all here around to just to witness the to witness Garli's IP in the building, and also to see glad to see it showing some results, tapping into other like market, other like streams, not streams, like other funnels, and glad looking forward to more. And Vince, is there anything you wanna tap into, or like add on to,
Oh,
or anything for OX
I think we could talk another hour about like physical products, especially the Gus thing. You're definitely correct. That 12-month lead time. I reckon it was probably around the time they announced the whole PBT thing, and then like they already were making Gus.
Yeah,
For
easily so.
sure.
Like, yeah, yeah,
now,
yeah, yeah.
now that you
Like,
point that
yeah,
out, yeah.
those things take a long time. Like, and that's, and again, yeah, that's where I'm like, it is kind of just taking a risk and throwing it out there and just being like, hey, we're kind of, this is who we are, and hopefully, fingers crossed they reply. But there, people are actually very very much open to take like this kind of risk and opportunities to maybe work with like look the potential for kind of creating that
Mm.
with somebody. So and I think brands are kind of discovering that as well, and all of these brands that are popping up that we're seeing now that kind of want that same end goal. I think their internal teams, although they might have had some experience in some of know exactly what they're doing with that, so I can't not acknowledge that. But
Mm.
there's definitely going to be a large amount of individuals where this is their first time being exposed to, like I was saying, like the production process of anything, the plushies, figurine, whatever. Like this is the first time they get that exposure. So if it's unfamiliar with, it's okay. Like I think people need to be okay with kind of stepping out of the comfort zone in the sense of that.
And
Because
taking
if
the
you
shot.
don't,
Yeah.
then yeah, if you don't, then it'll never happen unless somebody, like, I guess, literally hands it to you on like a silver platter and it's like, I want to do this for you. Then it's like, okay, sick. Like, fuck yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into it. But that usually doesn't happen, right? Most of the time, you do have to kind of take the risk on it, but it's so worth it. Like, I think more people really need to like really need to kind of step out of their comfort zones in
Mm.
that sense. Like like me personally, like I'm introverted as shit, right? Like I don't go anywhere in person, but I love to jump on and talk about stuff like this because it's kind of like shared experience. It does, like I know growing up, like I would always kind of brush off, like even like conversations like this, like I would take my takeaways from it would always be kind of like a meh, because I never had the experience that these people were talking about. So I didn't have anything I could apply it to. But I fucking kick myself in the fucking ass for it, because now I'm like, well, I like, everything that like some of these people like were telling me, it's like, well, shit, like they were right. Like they were 100% right. And I kind of brushed it off as if it was like, just kind
Just like
of
a
like an
given.
old
Yeah.
wise thing. Yeah. Like it's just like someone said, like, back in my day kind of thing. And it's like,
Mm.
and it really wasn't. It was a very like, it was very insightful like experience and knowledge on like, hey, like, you're gonna probably pull out your hair and this is how it's all gonna happen, and you're at the end of the day you're gonna be whatever, super tired, sleeping, falling asleep head first on your desk. But when you're all said and done, you're gonna be sitting back enjoying a nice drink on your chair, and you'd be like, damn, I did that. Like, we did that. Like it's like it's such a great feeling.
Can't confirm,
And
yeah.
I hope more teams get to experience that, because it is. I understand it's very stressful for like individuals as well whenever things might seem stagnant, but that just give it time,
Mm.
and also be very observant. Like, you can. There's so many takeaways that us as like individuals on a personal scale can like learn from others, where it's like, hey, even just this like small like tidbit of information or knowledge, if I apply it towards like our practices, like we as individuals might learn something, or we might find efficiencies where it's like, hey, this is actually like, this is super fucking sick. Like we kind of brush this off at first, but like these people are like, and you're kind of saying like, let them cook, right? Like, let them trust their process a little bit, because they kind of understand what they're doing, and we've never been in that wheelhouse. So like, let's watch another captain from a distance, and let's try to apply it to our own sailing tactics, right? And then hopefully we find our own stride, and we can finally hit that point of like, right on, this is the direction we're going to go to. And like I said, I think all products can apply that to themselves.
Yeah. 100%. Thank you so much for I guess, being one of the projects to take that step, the jump from the digital to the physical. You are right. It's that long lead time, and especially in our space where things that take more than, I feel like, a week, causes everyone to panic. So being that team, that individual, especially yourself, who is spearheading it, and giving us like the example, like one day, like especially when we talk about, for example, like Pudgy, like, oh, if you haven't heard about them, you probably should be paying attention. One day I imagine we'll be looking at you guys in that similar light. Wow, these guys took the step, and maybe we want to be looking into that. And that's when you can be the, I guess, like
Well,
not like the playbook, but definitely like the shining example in the space that
well,
does
yeah,
that.
and I don't not acknowledge it. Like, I know price factor is a huge fucking a huge attention snagger in the space, but I do think that regardless of whatever the price of something is, I think that the end result and the delivery of the final product is something that people really need to pay a lot more attention to, regardless of whatever their opinion is on a project, whatever their opinion is on an individual, whatever it might be, right? There's experiences that other people are doing and releasing that other teams are probably inefficient in or don't have that same experience in, that like take notes, like take really good notes, because like that's the kind of stuff where it's like, hey, we have never done this, but like we can try. This is like, right, like we see other people doing it, and I'm not saying again like copy paste it, like don't do that. Like
Hmm.
the same model might work for somebody else and it might work for another person, but the same model won't work for everybody. So find your place, apply a model to your project that you find is very sufficient and does work, and you'll probably see the similarities in others that you're like, hey, like we kind of took inspiration from this and we found kind of where we lived in this success, right? Like we kind of like forking a successful project in a sense. So
Yeah, that's definitely true. Like, we all exist in this place to build off each other as well. So like, I don't see any issue with that at all. I don't think everyone has to be the the one that's crossing over to the unknown west. You know, like there is going to be paths that other people have taken that you can branch off on your own, and it's what you make of it and all the choices you make along the way that make you so like wonderfully unique.
you picked up exactly that.
But yeah, well, Alex Wyver, thank you so much for coming over to the Juice and Junie and having this conversation with us. It's very enlightening, especially for us personally as well, as we look to, of course, build our own project. But it's also really good to take a look at some of the behind the scenes for your own project. You've had a lot of thoughts today, and I've loved all of them. But would you like to say any like final words?
I've said so much. I have no final words, but I appreciate both you guys inviting me and taking the time to talk and discuss. It
Yeah,
was
love to
super.
have you here.
Yeah, I love talking about this kind of stuff. I could go for hours
I
and
could
hours
tell.
on
No,
it, you know.
I love it.
And
Yeah.
and again, yeah, even the two of y'all, if y'all have any questions about like this kind of stuff, or
Mm-hmm.
like, feel free to always reach out. Or if you have individuals that like in other places, like I'd love to like share a conversation with them, because yeah, again, a lot of people don't get to experience these kind of things, or they don't know like where to start, right? I think that's the biggest thing, just
Mm-hmm.
where to start. So like yeah, I love always like helping out with those kind of like anyways, yeah, thank you so much for the conversation.
No,
It was
of
awesome. It
course.
was awesome.
We'll definitely take you up on your offer. A bit of a tease as well in the near future. We are having a conversation with Young from SFT/Weebox. So I got
Yeah.
a vibe that this sort of thing is not going to be the last one. So thank you so much,
Yeah,
OXY.
yeah, yeah.
Ooh.
And yeah, look forward to seeing how you guys do. I should really go and check out a little bit more about TJ Online. Guys, if you do want to go and have a look at some of the stuff that they're doing, go ahead and grab their Twitter stuff. I'll get YH if you don't mind. Can you grab some of the links? We'll put them just in the chat here on the Discord stage in the Juice.
I got you. I
Go ahead
got
and click
you.
them. Follow OXWaifu as well as TJ Online. If you guys want all the updates for the upcoming stuff, as you guys heard, there is a lot coming along the way, and it does take time, but that is the price of quality. Ladies and gentlemen, Junie, Zodiac, Grimoire holders all, thank you so much for joining us for this particular episode of The Juice. I'm Vince Delicious. This has been YH and, of course, OXWaifu. And hopefully we'll see you next time.
Mm.